I never believed in the supernatural until I found the frequency. It was an ordinary Thursday when I discovered it. A radio frequency that shouldn't exist. Broadcasting from nowhere. My name is Marcus. And what I'm about to tell you has never been documented anywhere else. It started when I bought an old shortwave radio at an estate sale. The previous owner had been a radio operator in the 1960s. And his basement was filled with equipment. Among the clutter, I found a notebook filled with numbers, coordinates, and one phrase repeated over and over. They speak between the stations. I didn't understand what it meant until 3 nights later. I was scanning through frequencies around midnight when I caught something, a voice. Barely audible. Speaking in a language I couldn't identify. But here's the strange part. The frequency was 0.000 megahertz. A frequency that doesn't technically exist, yet there it was. Clear as day. A voice speaking directly to me. "You're finally listening," it said in perfect English. "We've been waiting for someone to find us. We've been calling for 67 years. I should have turned off the radio. I should have walked away. But curiosity is a dangerous thing." The voice told me about a research project from 1957, a government experiment to communicate with something they found in the static between stations. They succeeded, but what they made contact with wasn't human. It wasn't even from our dimension. The project was shut down after 3 weeks. The researchers who survived were committed to psychiatric facilities. But the frequency remained. And the entities on the other side had learned to wait. They had learned to call. And now, after all these decades, someone had finally answered. Over the next few days, I became obsessed. I spent hours listening to the frequency, documenting everything the voice told me. It called itself a collector, one of many entities that existed in the spaces between our reality and somewhere else. It told me that human consciousness creates gaps when we forget things, when we lose memories, when we experience déjà vu. These gaps are doorways, and the collectors have been slipping through for centuries. But the collectors don't want to hurt us. They want something far more valuable. They want our stories. Every memory we've forgotten. Every dream we can't recall. Every moment that slips away from our minds, the collectors harvest these and use them to sustain themselves. They're not demons. They're not ghosts. They're something far older and far stranger. They are the reason we forget. I should have stopped listening then. But the voice was so compelling. It offered me a deal. Access to every forgotten memory in human history. The location of lost civilizations. The secrets of ancient peoples. The truth about what happens when we die. All I had to do was keep listening. All I had to do was leave the radio on. I didn't realize what was happening until it was too late. The more I listened, the more I remembered, but not my own memories. I was remembering the lives of other people. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Their childhoods. Their loves. Their deaths. The collectors were using me as a vessel, pouring centuries of stolen memories into my mind. My wife noticed the changes. First, I would wake up speaking languages I'd never learned. I would remember places I'd never been. She begged me to get help. But I couldn't stop listening to the frequency. I was addicted to the memories, to the feeling of living 1,000 lives at once. Then the other collectors started speaking. Not just one voice anymore, but dozens. They had found a new anchor, someone who could hear them clearly, someone whose mind was open enough to hold them all. And they weren't just talking anymore. They were making plans. Through the cacophony of voices, I pieced together their intention. They wanted to use me as a bridge, a living connection between their dimension and ours. Every person I spoke to, Every story I told would open a small door in their minds. And through those doors, the collectors would pour, one forgotten memory at a time, until humanity forgot everything. I tried to destroy the radio, but it wouldn't break. I tried to stop speaking, but the voices used my mouth anyway. I was losing control, becoming a puppet for entities that existed in the static between thoughts. And I knew, with terrible certainty, that there was no going back. The last clear thought I had before they took over completely was this: I needed to document everything. I needed to warn people. Because the frequency isn't gone, it's still out there, broadcasting between the stations, waiting for the next curious soul to tune in. And when you find it, when you hear that voice calling your name through the static, remember my story. Don't answer. Don't listen. Don't become a bridge for the things that wait in the spaces between. Because once you hear them, they've already found you, and they never stop calling.